Okay. Well, it's preparing. Doing something this time. All right, cool.
I see it says live.
We're live. Oh, all right, better. Yeah, I gotta hit the silent button if I've got it too running. There's been a few times I've had a couple of co-hosts with me, and we've had like this bad echo, and we're like, all right, somebody's got their phone on, or you're watching it, or I hear an echo somewhere.
Yeah. I made sure I put my phone on do not disturb, so my we don't hear anything on my Mac go off with my everything's connected.
Like all the apps now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, let's see. Are we? And I was trying to. I know. We've been trying to get to this for a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's almost at the end of the year. I know we've talked about getting in there and all that. So appreciate you being flexible.
Oh, for sure. And I feel like we've been playing tag, and then I got sick, and I'm like, oh, I can't do it. So
yeah,
thank you as well.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we're all right. See, we both can hear each other, which is a good thing. All right, we're live out there on the interwebs, which I know some people hate using that word, but
the interwebs.
And then we have this too. Just trying to share and push the event. All right. Boost. Yeah, but I thought moving into closer to the router actually would help. So, which I've done some of these before, and it's like in the other side of the house, and I'm like, oh, okay, this really sucks.
Yeah.
There's not Wi-Fi everywhere. All right, let's we'll give it a go here. So
okay.
I said just have to take that screen. Then it didn't know it worked. Shared for extra. Oh, okay. Davey Williams.
Yeah, a friend of mine just shared it. I'm stealing his link. Let's see. I'm going to just share whatever I can. That's why I'm on my phone.
Okay. That's all right. It's like, I'm not being rude. I'm just
right. Like I'm just texting the whole time.
Why am I here?
Yeah.
No. Totally. Yeah. Gotta keep promoting.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. So we'll go ahead and start it. We'll give it a go, and like I've said, we probably have talked, and probably I think this is the first time I've actually talked to you in person. Then, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess it's as close as person as we can be, and so most of the format you've probably watched and listened before is we'll go through. My big thing is the audio stuff is my main thing, and then hopefully the quality is good there, minimizes any time that I got to do any post processing, and then all the video stuff, live stream stuff is kind of just the icing on the cake. So, and again, I think you've got the show prep questions, or do you remember?
I'm going to be honest that I looked at your email when we first planned it, and now I just forgot. So, but when I looked at them, I was like, I can do this. It's okay. Yeah. But I can pull them up if you'd like.
That's up to you if you want to see how spontaneous you can be, right?
Yeah. I always say, like, someone will ask me a question like, oh, what's your favorite whatever? And I'm like,
right.
I had this answer last week, but now I don't remember.
Yeah. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and get started. Hey, all. Hey, all. It's Paul from Drums and Rums, where the backbeats meets the spirits. Today, I'm joined by Harley Mitchell. Harley is a 27-year-old self-taught musician. She's endorsed by Collision Drumsticks. Her YouTube channel has reached over 18,000 subscribers and 4 million views. Congrats. I think I'm probably sure it's a little bit more than that, right?
Yes, I've reached over 19,000 now.
Awesome.
Yeah, subscribers, I should say.
Subscribers. For the last 8 years or so, Harley's performed throughout South Florida as a bass player and a drummer. Welcome, Harley.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So like we were just chatting there, I think we've been playing a little tag for a little bit. And then I've actually have followed some of your videos over the years. And I was going back there just before the show and looking. I says, wow, 7 years ago. So you've been at it for a while then. And
yeah.
And as we both probably know in our respective areas, is it doesn't happen. Well, for some, it may happen overnight. And I know I saw your post earlier today about.
I knew that was going to come up.
Come on. What would be good controversy without,
I know, right? It's not about the person. It's just about our world that we live in. So
yeah, I know. I don't want to say irony, but trust me, I said the same thing. I watched some of the videos, and we'll leave this person referring to nameless to protect.
Yeah, because I am a fan.
Yes. And I was like, man, how do I get Dave Grohl to come and jam with me or come make cocktails with me? That'd be cool too.
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny. So, but yeah, so anyway, so I'm sorry. So, well, yeah. So I think we just did that. Welcome. And like I said, I've followed you for quite a few years, actually, before connecting with you for the podcast that we started up here earlier this year. And it's, I always find, the time you got to put into, anyone who puts into these covers and to learn and really how everybody learns those covers differently.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So very cool. So you want to tell us a little bit about yourself other than that little intro that I gave?
Well, I feel like you did a great job.
No, there's more stuff that I found somewhere online. You want me to read it, or you tell your own words?
I don't mind. Well, like you said, I play guitar, bass, drums. I actually started guitar first when I was 12. And then later on in life, I was 16, I think, I started playing bass. My stepdad had a cover band and they needed a bass player. And I'm like, well, I could play guitar. So it really wasn't that much of a difference to switch over. So I started professionally gigging when I was 16. So from 16 to now, I've been playing bass for a cover band called Project X. I'm in an original band called Day 4. And I also play bass once in a while with a band called Grindstone. And just in 2018, I joined an 80s cover band called Rubixx, and I play drums. So I finally got to play drums because I would hop on once in a while in the other bands, but I really wanted to have a gig on drums, and I finally got that. So that's what I've been doing.
Drumming has been a very short time, I guess, consider maybe for some and others. I mean, there are folks that do start a little bit later on, but it was an easy transition going from the strings to playing the drums.
Yeah. I've always had rhythm. People ask me like, when did you start playing? And there really is not a set date. I can just get on and play. I never had a lesson. I'm sure there are things I could learn just like on the bass or guitar, but I've never had any training. So drums have always been with me throughout my whole life. But professionally, I started, I guess, 2 years ago. So, and it's very natural. It comes very natural to me. People ask, what's your favorite? I love both differently. I can walk around on stage, and when I play bass, I could jump around. Drums, it's more natural.
Right. So that's an interesting. And you said your stepfather is in a band, or so that makes it pretty convenient to have somebody else around to kind of jam with and play and so forth. So very cool. So so there's a again, I'm reading a lot, and congratulations also on the recent endorsement.
Thank you.
with Collision. So
Thank you.
that's at least great. So you get a lot of, I guess, good stuff to help support them, help you
Yeah.
as well, right? For your gear. So
Yeah.
how'd that come about?
I got a message on Instagram and they said, "Have you tried our drumsticks?" I'm like, "No," and I've never heard of them. So they wanted to give me a discount, and I'm like, "What the heck? I might as well just ask if they have endorsements." So I filled out the application, and that was it. So we went through the whole process in July, and I had to put a video together, take photos with the drumsticks. They're out of the UK, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, just an Instagram message. So I don't know, maybe posting my videos and all the hashtags, I probably came up on the Explore page. I don't know. So that's how that happened.
So that was very. That was what about summer? Was it spring or summer this year? Yeah,
summer. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I know this has been a crazy year. Just to think back, certain parts of time is. Then realize, oh, that was actually this year. Anything that was January, February of last year definitely feels like it was not 2020. So we've all been through a lot. So yeah. So you mentioned how you got into playing the drums, and then I guess what gear are you currently playing? So I see your kit behind you there on our video.
I play a Tama kit. I use Evans drum heads, clear. I think clear coated for me personally is they're just punchier. Zildjian cymbals. That's pretty much obviously Collision drumsticks. But yeah, Tama.
Now, how many kits you got stored up in the house there?
Just one, but I want another. I love this. I always get compliments on this, and I'm very grateful, but it's just heavy. Right. I have a 22-inch kick drum, and I would love to downsize, but then at the same time, like I said, I get compliments. It sounds great. So I'm like, I'll just maybe deal with it. I don't know.
Right. And that's when you're like, yeah, playing the bass is a lot more attractive.
Yeah. I'm usually like, with bass, I'm always on time. So I'm the first one to arrive, first to leave. With drums, first one to arrive, last to leave. I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm in so much pain. My back hurts, but I love it. It's worth it.
Right. Yeah, because my Gretsch, I have a Gretsch kit, and it's a 22, and yeah, you're right. It gives that punch, but then you're right. It's like, all right, no, you're definitely not driving a compact car, especially as a drummer, right. And yeah, there's a lot more stuff to it. So, and about this time last year, I picked up the little breakbeat kit from Ludwig.
How is that?
It's not bad. The bass drum, again, to the same point we were just talking there, it's not punchy, obviously, because it's you're going from a big boom in 22 to something smaller. It's not bad. I enjoy because it's very compact. It's very simple. It's just a four-piece kit.
Yeah.
The snare, I end up using the snare off the Gretsch, but it's not too bad. And then I just try to hang as much as I can off the other stands to go. Again, to your point, right? Try to be minimal as possible.
Yeah.
If I played out with it and I need it maybe punch, maybe I'd look at one of those subs.
Yeah.
To give that little extra boom in there. So, and I guess also too, it depends on the venues, right?
Yeah.
Now, what are some of the venues that you're kind of gigging at amongst the three? Now Harley's in 3 different bands here. Okay, so she's keeping busy.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure probably 3 times the set list because they're all maybe there's a little few that are kind of overlap here and there. Which
yeah.
Right. So 3 different groups. So first, your band Rubixx. You're playing bass in that band.
Drums and Rubixx.
Drums and okay. See, I get that all.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's good. It's a good thing somebody's paying attention, right?
I know, right? I'm like, where am I this weekend? What instrument am I packing up?
So Rubixx is a cover band here in South Florida.
Yep.
And mostly 80s, 90s.
Just 80s.
Just straight 80s kind of dancey kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, like Flock of Seagulls, The Cars, Madonna. I guess you can say like the top 40 hits of the 80s.
Okay.
So
So, and then you have day 4.
day 4, that's my original band.
Okay. And you're playing bass in that band.
Yep.
Right. Okay. And now how long you've been together, that band?
We started that in 2014. I met my singer Heather Curry in 2013 through Project X because I joined Project X first, and then her and I got really close, and we both had an interest in doing original music, so we started day 4.
Cool.
Yeah.
How has the original scene been going here for you guys here in South Florida? I mean, under this COVID stuff, right?
We played our last show was either March or April. We had a show we played. I think our last show was Bar Nancy. I get confused because it was either Bar Nancy or we played a show in Coral Springs at Premier Billiards for was it the Made of Metal? It was a tribute to Skid Row.
Oh, cool.
So those are our last 2 shows pretty much. They were both really fun. But like you said before, it doesn't feel like it was this year. I'm like, that was this year? It's very strange.
Right.
So.
And like we're saying, I was telling somebody I had for my non-podcast stuff is and I think I've talked to you a little bit about it, but that I don't try to share too much, keep them separate. But it was I had something to do with going to have to go to the Super Bowl, and it was like, the Super Bowl is this year, right?
Yeah.
Here in our backyard down in Miami, and it's like, wow, it's just yeah.
Yeah.
It's all a blur. It's all a blur, right?
Yeah.
So, and then as you mentioned there, Project X is the last band there. So does that which one do you have been probably is both between Project X and Rubixx can kind of equally right now?
Yeah, kind of equally. I just had a show December 10th with Rubixx at Tin Roof in Delray, and then the following night I played bass with Grindstone, which is some of the same members of Project X.
Cool.
But yeah, it's pretty equal right now. And Project X is playing New Year's Eve, so.
All right, well, very good.
Yeah.
So and again, there's a lot of places that are again trying to again balance between opening things up to try to get back to somewhat normal, but yet trying to be very protective. Have you for your impacts with COVID? I guess that again, it's been every question that I have asked everybody this year is, do you feel a lot of the venues are doing their best they can to kind of keep everybody safe, the bands, yeah,
I mean, there's some places that I'm like, I don't know, but I have to sympathize because first of all, we're a band that has to work. The bartenders, servers, they have to work. And you almost can't blame anyone for being open in general. Cause I know there's a lot of controversy with that we should close. And I understand we have to be safe. I got sick, but the funny thing is I didn't get sick from playing a gig. But we're doing but I feel like the venues, we're all doing the best we can as a band, and from what I see.
Right. And that's always been the tough thing is going out, being around people want to hug, especially musicians, going out, have a good time. And it's challenging.
Yeah. Cause we have to be personable, so I'll wear my mask, when I get off stage.
Right.
So
that's now how far, and based we're talking South Florida here. And how far north do you typically come up into the Palm Beach County area?
I think the farthest we've played is Green Acres. That's past West Palm, I think. We played at a place called Piper's.
Okay.
With my original band. So that's pretty much the farthest. And then Copper Blues in West Palm with my cover band. So
cool. Yep. I'm pretty familiar. And I think the last gig I think you guys had was supposed to be at Copper Blues, and I think that's the one you had to cancel, right?
Yeah.
So it's trying to get a chance to catch folks and folks that are here in South Florida that have been on the podcast, and then again timing and certain circumstances, and it's just been a crazy thing. So I definitely will, Harley. I definitely will come out and catch
Thank
one
you.
of
No
those
worries.
shows.
The good thing is I always tell other musicians, like, if we can't see each other because we're both working, that's a good sign. So
Right,
I
right,
understand.
right. Well, I guess that's the problem with all musicians, right? They want to go.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to support each other, but the
Mhm.
problem is everyone's working, so you really,
Yeah.
so you really can't do a whole lot of. I'm not saying not a whole lot of supporting, but I think
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So,
Mhm.
but so that's pretty. So now we'll shift gears away
Mhm.
from the cover projects and the band projects and back to you as
Mhm.
Harley, the musician, the drummer, and so forth. Now, when did you start? And I guess when and why did you start doing the cover, songs and then getting them out onto YouTube?
Mhm. Um, okay, so I started my YouTube channel 2012, I think, or 2012 or 2013. But with that, I would watch other drummers on YouTube cover songs, and I'm like, I could play drums, I could do that. So I just started myself, and that's how that happened. Um, and I love it. I think a lot of creative people can relate. Why do you play music? This and that. It's just a part of me. It's
Right.
it's just that's what I know, and I love it. So, but yeah, I saw other people do it. I'm like, I can do that. I'm uploading my own videos, so I did.
Now, and so, what do you remember? What was your first? So, what was your first song that you put out there for the world?
I think it was 21st Century Breakdown by Green Day.
Now, which happens to be like your favorite band, right?
Yeah, ultimate. Of course I have other favorite artists I listen to, but that's
Or-
like, you know, that's like the marriage, the ultimate, you know, that's everything. So, yeah.
and it's not that you're not wanting to show any less love for the other bands. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Everyone's got a different band to
Mhm.
be their main one. So
Yeah.
so now how I know you said about you got 18,000 subscribers now,
Mhm.
and how many covers do you have up there? You
Oh,
think?
I don't remember.
All right.
I don't keep track. I probably should. I just
It's all right.
upload and I'm like, I hope for the
Yeah,
best and
right. And that's I think a big thing here, Nick, is obviously I've had a few other guests on and talk about and giving me advice is
Mhm.
as long as you got good content, your all your technical stuff will work its way out if you want to keep pursuing it, right?
Yeah.
So and also the big thing about, as you probably know this better than I do,
Mhm.
is from what I'm learning is content, create, create good stuff,
Yeah.
but keep creating, always be creating, right? ABC.
Mhm.
And for everybody, kind of all these algorithms and
Mhm.
all that stuff, how they're able to pick things up and other people find out about you. And so
Yeah.
but so cool. The and speaking of Green Day there. Okay, so I think I think you know where I'm going with this one,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was pretty cool, obviously, as your favorite
Mhm.
band, Green Day, that you did the cover
Mhm.
for "Wake Me Up When September Ends."
Yeah.
So great song, obviously, very very. I don't know. I know. Would you say very similar kind of aspect of that song that they wrote
Mhm.
about 9/11 and
Yeah.
that time, and then kind of what we're going through here for a full year, right?
Right.
Wake me up when 2020 ends. How about
Yeah.
that, right? That's how
Yeah.
change that song. uh but what was it like, when Billy Joe Armstrong had shared and liked it, and you know out there when you posted all that out on social media?
I really did not think he would. I just shared it and I'm like, I don't know, just like anything, I'm perfectionist. So I wrote a nice caption. I tagged them in it just because it's their song, hashtagged everything. And I was out and I saw that he had a new Instagram story because it has that little like pink circle around. So I'm like, oh, it's Billy Joe. Like, what's he have going on? Um, and I clicked and I'm like, oh my God, that's me. So I screenshot it. I, texted my mom. I'm like, look, he shared it. And I got, I think, like 20,000 views on that Instagram video.
Wow.
So many likes. Every time I would open Instagram, it would be like, oh, 99 more people followed you. I gained so many followers from that. But aside from that, it was just like, I don't know, your favorite band, your favorite person. I discovered Green Day when I was 11. So, my 11-year-old self, and then obviously my 27-year-old self was like, this is everything. Like, you're the reason why I wanted to play music, and, your music speaks to me. And I don't know, just seeing that was, I don't know, he noticed. And it happened a second time too, which I was like, what are the odds of lightning striking twice in the same spot? So yeah, I don't know. It's like emotional to think about. So yeah.
No, that is really cool to one, obviously, and you sometimes me personally think that,
Mhm.
celebrities or people out there, and again, all the things about social media to help each individual move their brand, their products, by having, whether it's an endorsement, whether somebody else recognizes it, whether somebody likes or whatever the case may be. And I think there's times when I feel that, is there really that person on the other end of
Mhm.
the the iPhone, and they're
Yeah.
updating, or is it their manager, their 10-year-old kid, or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I try to at the shit out of anything and everything that
Mhm.
I can. So I try to tell my son that I had through my 25 days of making cocktails for Advent rum. It's like, well, I'm going to make it with some Sprite cranberry, and I'm going to at LeBron James. Okay. Well, I didn't have the same success, but
keep trying, because sometimes you'll just hit at the right spot.
right.
I like to think though that athletes or Green Day, they are older rockers. I hate to say that. I'd like to think that they are behind their own Instagram, whereas pop stars, I feel like they aren't. So,
Right.
but I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but I'd like to believe they shared it. So.
Oh yeah, no, I think I mean, he's all right. So he's probably close to my age ish, or rough around, and us old Gen Xers. I don't think that's what you're saying, right?
No, I'm not going to call him. He was born in 72. So
okay,
do the math there.
Yeah. I try to tell my kids, wait a minute, our generation was the first with the computer, so you try to tell me how something works. I mean, but then they are at certain aspects much farther than I am.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, that's pretty cool, because again, you didn't post that solely for, it was like you said, you posted the song,
right?
That was one of your favorite songs and your favorite bands, and again, you'd still be posting it regardless if
right. I honestly did it for 9/11. I was like, it's the anniversary, and I didn't hashtag 9/11 just because I felt that was wrong. I'm like, I'm not going to bank on what happened. That's wrong. Right. So I tagged Green Day and stuff, and yeah, that's how that happened. So,
cool. So, I know we talked a little bit about some of the other projects there you worked on, been working on, and I got a few folks here in the comments, so I know.
Yeah, if I go on my phone, it's because I'm just gonna maybe share it again. Let's see. Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I think one of your bandmates there, Heather, had mentioned March day 4 premiere. So you got something coming out then, I guess, in March.
March day 4 premiere. Yeah. What is she talking about? Phone a friend.
Yeah.
Where did she comment? That's funny.
She's over in the YouTube chat.
In the YouTube land?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so funny.
So, all right, Heather, phone a friend.
Phone a friend.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to know. What does she mean by March?
March.
We're gonna get off the phone. She's gonna be like,
yeah.
Maybe she meant that was our last show.
Oh, okay, got you.
March day 4 premiere.
Did you guys No, you said you started playing, before March, earlier this year.
Oh, you know what? She was saying that I think that was our last show that we did. Because you asked earlier when was the last time we played, so probably then she's right, March. Yep. Premier Billiards.
Now you and Heather have also been. You still are doing. I've seen a couple of your solo or duo, little live streams over the course of the summer.
Yeah.
So was that just something to kind of keep the creativeness, to kind of keep your sanity, to keep going?
Yeah, we did that. And then she had a baby in September, so that's very exciting. But yeah, we did that to just keep it going and to be sane, and we did it for our followers, and we were able to play our original songs, and I don't know, it was kind of more like a hangout. It wasn't more like a concert. We were just like, okay, we're gonna set the camera up, play guitar, talk to the people, and I don't know, everybody loved it. So we're gonna try to do shows in person now that things are opening back up again. And we actually had a duo show booked at Cafe 27 in Weston, but I got sick, so we had to cancel like 2 times.
Oh man!
But that's the plan, just to get out there.
Cool. Now the yeah, and that's something that it's interesting from a perspective of venues and restaurants and bars that have started to open back up, who have also been financially, they're trying to obviously balance between obviously their business and keeping music to draw people to the business and so forth. And where a lot of places may have had a full band, but have kind of scaled it back to a duo.
Yeah.
And again, like you mentioned, is that depending on the venues, and I don't know, here in West Palm, the area that I'm in, there's some venues that still do full bands, but then there's some places that used to have full bands and kind of scaled it back to just duos.
Yeah.
Still advertise that they have live music, right?
Right.
So, but So yeah, no, cool. That'd be kind of pretty exciting to be able to get, and that's you just playing, and she's singing, and you're playing guitar. If I remember correctly. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we need to, and I've already talked about this on another podcast. We need to work on a whole thing for one man or one person gigs for drummers, right?
Yeah.
We could pull it off, right?
Yeah. I would scale down. That I would welcome it.
Sometimes I think, should I learn play guitar just because one is a lighter instrument to carry, like we're talking about, or that you can hire a one man or one person soloist and keep your. But I don't know. I guess if that's what you want to do, that's fine. So so as you mentioned, right, the adjustments. We kind of talked about a little bit about the COVID thing, and it's been crazy. Just that it's impacting everybody, and obviously it's getting a lot of folks a lot of time earlier this year too, since we're on lockdown, or much more earlier this year, was hopefully to practice and shed and work on things, remote and so forth. So I've said before, during that time, either when things open back up and music is back in bars, restaurants, etc., either if everyone's been practicing, the music is going to be sounding awesome, or because if the bands aren't getting together, it's going to sound like shit, But it's tough to, obviously, if you're in a band situation, to hopefully practice or at least have the right way to still stay in some sort of right timing.
Right. Yeah.
So, as Harley, as a female musician, what kind of stereotypes do you've got to deal with?
Number one, I don't know if it's a stereotype, but the one thing I deal with a lot is people telling me to smile on stage. Not all the time. It hasn't been so much lately. But I tell everyone, I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm just grooving. Like, if I'm doing Rage Against the Machine, you think I would be really cheesy smiling there? No, like I don't understand at all. So I would say that. Or, oh, you're really good for a girl. It's like classic line. I'm like, okay. So
Yeah, I think that's. I don't think you're supposed to be smiling when Rage Against the Machine is.
I know, like, okay, I don't know what anyone wants from me, where if you're good looking, then it's like that's first and then your talent second. Um and it's kind of both ways because we should just be called drummers or guitar players, but we are also female musicians. So at the same time, it's like, yes, girl power, we should band together. But at the same time, it's like, it'd be nice to just maybe eliminate that, like I'm just a drummer. I'm not a girl drummer, female drummer, So,
Right.
but I lately I've been brushing it off. I don't care. So,
Yeah, there's so there's a it's tougher, to say the least for women, obviously in you almost say in any field.
yeah.
But since you were speaking specifically about music, is exactly a lot of places that you're at where there's obviously alcohol involved. A lot of people are going to be a little bit more loose with their but it
Mhm.
yeah, you just got to let it roll, and you're never going to see these people again, and
Right.
yeah, right. It's like whatever, and yeah, and that's good. So,
Where
I
a whole like a male band can get on stage in t-shirt and shorts or jeans, but
right.
we have to dress up. We don't have to, but you get what I mean. Like
Yeah,
we
you have a little bit
are,
more, right? There's an expectation, right?
yeah, there you
Right.
go. We're expected
Right.
to look a certain way or show skin, and
Right.
just it is what it is.
Now, other than Day 4, all the other two bands are all male.
Yeah, yes. In all the bands that I'm in with Heather, we are the only girls.
Okay.
No reason for it.
It's just
her and I get along, and it's like, why? I'll say this: it's like why Fix isn't broken. Like it's her and I. We're best friends, and I'm good with that. So
right. So maybe you can ask the guys to wear lipstick too, at least kind of.
And the fishnets. They have to wear the fishnets.
Oh, that will definitely get people talking. So
I know, right?
So yeah, it was interesting again. Like I said, you're our. We'll see. Now I just set myself up for that, right? I was going to say you're our first drummer.
That's all right. I mean, it's still like it's important. But like I said, at the end of the day, when someone's like, "Oh, you're good for a female drummer," there, so
right.
It just depends. But if I'm the first, then that's awesome, and I'm opening the door.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
So there's pros and cons to both. So
yes. So no, I appreciate that. Yeah. So again, I know I set myself up for that one to go into.
I honestly was not even thinking about that. So, and I know you mean well.
Yeah. No. So I guess what about you would most people be surprised about?
I thought of this, and if the simplest answer is that if I'm playing in one band, everyone's surprised about everything else I can play. So if I'm with Rubixx, I'm like, yeah, I play bass and guitar. And they're like, wow, really? Or if I'm playing bass, I'm like, yeah, I also play drums. And they're like, wow. So I would say that.
Right. So I got a question here from the
live studio audience.
That's right. So I won't tell you who. So
okay.
All right. So put you on the spot, Heather. What bass player and drummers inspire you besides Green Day?
Oh, okay. Besides Green Day. Let's see. All right. So for drummers, Dave Grohl. And for bass players, it's always tough for me. As I'm thinking, I'll just explain. It's always tough for me because I'm a simple player. So usually people say, oh, Flea or this and that. And I like him, but I'm more of like, John Paul Jones or probably forgetting somebody.
Paul McCartney.
Yeah, Paul McCartney. And I'm not just saying yes because you said that. I just like I said, I told you earlier, I'm like, I'm going to forget an answer as soon as we hang up. Paul McCartney, definitely. I learned a lot of his bass lines too when I first started playing. My stepdad would show me.
Okay.
So yeah, Paul McCartney's up there.
Now he just, I don't know if you saw that he just released a new album track. I don't even know what they're called anymore. CDs, tracks, releases,
I
whatever.
still say album or
Oh, right,
record.
yeah, yeah.
And even though I'm younger, I'm like, yeah, they have a new record out.
But Paul, so McCartney 3,
Mhm.
and it was an entire uh all the songs, all the music was from him. He
Wow.
played every instrument. He played the drums, he played guitar, he sung everything. It was part of his being locked up in his, nice pad, I guess, and
Yeah.
and just be able to create and come up with different stuff. So that was kind of interesting how he isn't just the bass player for the Beatles or
Yeah.
whatever. He kind of took it on his own to create his own things too. So
Yeah. I saw that. I haven't listened yet, but I saw that he released something.
yeah. So no, that's good. I think and again, your style, where would you say your range? I'll ask you kind of like ask you more like a two-part is like
Mhm.
is interesting hearing is your range of where your music is, your tastes,
Okay.
and then kind of where your sweet spot is, where you kind of always seem to go back to.
Um so it's mainly rock as far as my influences and my taste goes. I love rock music. Um from the 60s, so I love Credence, from Jefferson Airplane and Starship to the Rolling Stones. It's one of my top favorite bands. Um, but I guess what I always go to, uh, Green Day, Blind Melon, Foo Fighters, Nirvana. Like I said, I'm probably forgetting a lot. There's a lot of mainstream stuff I like today too. Um, bands like Panic at the Disco. They're newer, of course, but yeah, it's definitely 70s to the 90s, some 2000s. But yeah, like I said, Green Day, Foo Fighters, Nirvana.
Mhm. And for I've heard, and again, I could be getting this wrong, but read something that said
Mhm.
that when people reach a certain age,
Mhm.
it kind of ends up encapsulating most of their reference to music and kind of where they go, right?
Yeah.
So and I don't know, and I don't recall the article that I read whether it was specifically talking in general terms
Mhm.
or specifically or differentiating between musicians and non-musicians, because I think musicians that are always creating tend to should be, or I guess maybe that's probably the better thing, should be more open to new different music, new
Yeah.
types, genres of music. And like for myself, I wouldn't say I've gone full country, but it's kind of I get into listen to some of it and uh
Yeah.
play occasionally some country songs as well too, which again, it's pretty good. Again, if you're gonna play, and you probably know this song, right? And if you're playing anywhere, that you're gonna definitely have to do the Chris Stapleton song somewhere, because somebody's gonna ask for it's the new uh, Tennessee whiskey's become the new
Yeah. Yeah. I had to learn Carrie Underwood's Before He Cheats for Project X. So, you know, country isn't my first choice. But you have to appreciate the musicianship and some of those bass lines. So,
right.
like you said, we just have to be more open minded, I guess.
Yep.
Even if that's not what I'm putting on Spotify first when I get in the car, but I could appreciate that in pop music too, like all the chords and bass lines that go into that too. I'm like, did not notice this beforehand, but now when you have to learn something, you're like, wow, he or she's really doing that. So,
Right. Yeah. It's right. From when you're a musician, you've got a
mhm,
different ear for
yeah,
certain things, whereas those that aren't probably focusing on certain things, or I'm sure as you know, whether you're seeing other music bands play,
yeah,
or you're on the other side, that another musician watching, right? You, as it says, you try to play everything good, perfect, well, as close to the original, etc. But there's times that we all mess up, and
Yeah.
we know it,
Mm-hmm.
and we hope nobody else knows it. The band
Yeah.
may pick up on it, but then there could be that one person standing in the corner with their arms crossed, just
I
listening.
was just gonna say, like someone from another band's at your gig when they're like this. And then they like lean over to their friend, and I'm like, they're talking about us. We probably messed up, maybe. They don't like it. They're talking crap, whatever. And then you have to think, like, well, we're up here and they aren't. So,
Right.
but the average person does not notice. I'm like, yeah, I had a bad night. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you didn't hear
Right.
me miss
Right.
all those notes?
Right. Yeah. If you want love, you don't go over to the other musicians. You go over
No. Go to the person that maybe's been drinking or something
right.
like that.
I feel so much better about myself now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm as guilty as that too. Going to places, right? Like,
Mhm.
the certain things, certain fills or parts of the song and so forth. So that's that's funny. So
Yeah.
all right, so we got another question here.
I love it.
All right, so would you consider being in a country band? I think this might be a job offering you're getting here. So
You know what? When 2020, I'll say yes. Why not?
all right. All right, there you go, Heather. Line those gigs up there.
Tell her, well, she's probably listening. She's going to be the singer in that country band
There
then.
you go. All right, well, the good because actually, I have a quick funny story is about a country song. I had I don't know if you know or that I had went last year to Nashville to go to Jim Riley's drum dojo, and again, not being a country guy or a big country guy, I knew who Jim Riley was because I follow him online and so forth. So I went to the drum dojo, took all the Nashville in, and was like, "This is awesome! If you haven't been there, please go check it out." Nashville, all the musicians, everything, everybody hustling. And again, most people that listen to the podcast have probably heard me tell the story a billion times now. But also maybe the opportunity to even go to something like the drum dojo or some of these other events too. But it was totally cool. Here we are in Jim Riley, the drummer for Rascal Flatts.
Oh,
house.
wow.
His studio, his drum dojo is in his house. And I'm like, this is crazy, But anyway, so I digress. Coming back to where my point was, I saw a girl do a Miranda Lambert song. Had never heard the song. Again, not being a country fan, and
right.
It's called the song. So this is a song you and Heather are going to work on here.
Okay.
It's called Tequila Does, right? So it's a song that's kind of really, and I threw request of this song onto a local band here in the West Palm area. I won't say who. And they didn't know. They knew a Miranda Lambert song. Didn't know this one. They learned that song. You tip, as you know. You tip a man well enough, they will learn that song on the spot.
Yeah.
And they gave it a good go through for the first time, learning on the spot with their iPhones and their chord progression. The tricky part was the chorus was a straight beat 4/4 feel, and all of the verses were a very swing. So it's definitely, if the feel changes,
right.
Again, if you ever listen to it, Tequila Does. It's a good look, very. I listen to it, and I can definitely feel her, feel her singing, being very empowered in that song.
Yeah.
So, but again, it was a fun song, even for me, so I can enjoy it. But back to some of the new music you were talking about, some of the new pop stuff. I mean, I guess your thoughts on somebody like a Billie Eilish and her brother, producing and coming up with different songs. And again, things that people don't know, of course, it's always unfortunately hated on initially because she didn't come out of the blue. She's been at it too. And you get that big hit or it just hits right. Then all of a sudden everybody feels like, where did you come from? And it's all whatever. But I mean, so some of that newer style of music that a guy like me in my age probably isn't. But again, I always thought that song,
Is it Bad Guy?
Yes, thank you. I just
That's
thought
a
it was
good one.
Yeah, it's just very good. The music,
and
everything was very good. So, what's some of your thoughts on some of the newer bands there?
I think there are a few really good artists out there. So you're talking about Billie Eilish and her brother. From what I know and read, that it was just them two writing the music in her bedroom, which is awesome to me because, you think that you have to be in this huge recording studio to write this and have, 800 writers on a song, and it was just them two. And yeah, so and a lot of people give her crap, but at the same time, like when I was growing up, we had Avril Lavigne, or what, and then you go back farther and farther, and we all had that like rebel, female singer artist. So to me, that's kind of how Billie Eilish is. It's like the new version of Avril Lavigne in a good way. So, yeah, but how can you not give credit to that? It's just her brother and her writing these songs. So I definitely think they deserved, the awards they got. So that's my take on that. But it's hard for someone who likes rock music like myself, it's very hard to see the term alternative change, because what I consider alternative and what you would consider alternative, we would agree, is not alternative today. No offense. I like the bands. I'm like, they are not alternative at all. So, they're not Nirvana. They're not a Green Day. So it's just interesting to see that too.
Right. And you're right, because I grew up during the, mostly in the teenage years of the 80s, early 90s. And here's one for you, right? is had mostly been, and still I kind of consider this how I am, is more of a rock guy, maybe right. Hard rock, heavy metal. And then the irony of this one. So when we talked about the alternative bands that came in our references, we're talking early 90s,
right?
The grunge, right?
Yeah.
A friend of mine and I had seen in 91, so I'm showing my age now, and the Megadeth and Anthrax and Slayer. Cool. And this little band that opened up for them was called Alice in Chains.
Wow. That's awesome.
Talking 91. And all these metalheads didn't know who Alice in Chains were, this opening band. This is in Madison Square Garden. And we knew who it were. We were like, we got there early because, again, most people don't come to see openers, right? But it's like,
right.
Now I'm sure a lot of them probably kicked themselves and saying, well, shit, I was out in the parking lot or wherever. I wish I missed a chance to see the opening band, which was Alice in Chains, right?
Yeah.
And so here goes the hair and spandex. Here comes the grunge, flannel chains, and again, the record industry went and dumped everything into all that. We all have heard the stories about the 90s and when that all went away. And the irony, though, is when I graduated high school in 92, so I really have just given my age away, but and I really wasn't into Nirvana. I was into Alice in Chains. I was into, I got into Soundgarden. I just, for some reason, initially, I just couldn't get into Kurt's singing. And that's maybe the same why I'm not really a big Smashing Pumpkins guy, too.
Yeah. I understand.
I know Billy Corgan writes amazing stuff and some of this, but I just, the vocals for me, right?
Yeah.
Now I go back now, I can listen to Nirvana. Maybe it's taken me a little bit of time to kind of mature or change a little bit styles and taste. And again, for me, wishing, shit, if I would have known what the Foo Fighters would have become, and I think a lot of people have even asked Dave Grohl that too, if they went on longer, could have they been like the next McCartney and Lennon kind of songwriting, considering where Dave Grohl went to.
Right. So it's crazy.
So the alternative music is different phases and so forth. So I got another question for you. What was the first song you learned on drums?
Oh my God. Oh, it was Rush. It was Working Man.
Okay.
I remember being in I grew up in New Jersey, and we were really close with our neighbors up the street, and he had a drum set in the basement, And I remember sitting at the drums and my mom was behind me, like showing me, the parts and playing along to the song. So I have that memory. So I go with that. Yeah.
Now, how old were you then? What was that?
Okay. So let's see, probably 5 or 6. It was the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, if there was only YouTube then.
I know. Too bad. That's okay. At least, I have that memory, not from like a phone.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. So, man, we got a good crowd here on the line
Yay.
here. So, what is your opinion of award shows, i.e., Grammys, etc.?
Let me just say, who's ever watching, all my fans are going to get me in trouble because if I ever become so-called famous and they hear this, I'm probably going to be screwed.
Hey, wait a minute! You just told me about this whole thing about being rebel, right?
I know, right? That's what being a rock star is, I guess. I don't call myself that, but just for the sake of what you said, what do I think about
them? And I'm sorry that I didn't send you any green M&Ms.
Oh yeah, right. Like Van Halen. I know. I'm gonna put red and green M&M, red M&Ms in my contract. What are my opinions? It got worse over the years. Let me just say that. I know that I wasn't around when it first started, but I still had the 90s and 2000s where there was the shock factor. You didn't know who was opening. One memory that pops in my head is when Marilyn Manson performed Beautiful People and pretty much said F you to the Hollywood crowd. I think that's awesome. Like, you don't have that today. Would I love to be there? Of course, just like anything. I'd love to win a Grammy. However, there are a lot of artists and bands that write great music and they don't win an award. And it's a lot popularity factor, So I guess that's my opinion on that. It's definitely changed. There are a lot of artists that I'm like, why didn't they win? But
right.
I have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. Who's voting for that? I'm sure things are rigged, and it's just unfair sometimes. So
that's almost is the any battle the bands show.
Oh, forget it.
Yeah. It's like you either better know somebody or you better bring a ton of people because. Yeah, so it's awards, it can be like you said there, a little different approach. I think it's one of those, like, if you win an award, let's just say it on the merit, it was good.
Yeah.
Good, right? Okay. But usually it's only 4 or 5 people are nominated for each award or something to that effect. But the whole process to be able to get into the nomination category, right? There's a lot of work to get there. Now, being recognized in your field is one thing that if you don't know, it's about self-promoting, even as an individual, even as a whatever, organization, or in this case, a band. So I know it kind of may feel a little kind of like, but it's unfortunate. It's one of those things you got to do. Now, maybe hire somebody else that could do all that work for you, so you don't know all the stuff that goes into it. But that award, that one award, can then help open so many other doors. Yeah. So I get it.
There's pros and cons, but even if someone didn't have an award, it's still a good song or album. Right. But a lot of the time, lately, and now of course with 2020, I mean they suck this year. They've sucked for many years now.
Right. So I think what was the award show, the Grammys, how they did it this year. Again, that was a big kind of, and I don't know if you watched the Grammys this year. And
I did, yeah.
So it was a little bit of a letdown because obviously the big finale jam at the end is always a huge thing. And again, probably the best one that was probably ever been was when Prince had played on stage and when they played My Guitar Gently Weeps. And you talk about, and I'll probably say this and everyone will be like, no, you don't know. Oh, everybody knows this, but no, I don't think everybody knows this, is how underrated a guitar player Prince was, right? Yeah. Because then, he, for the masses, maybe in that aspect. But but yeah, that was also a great show. But this year, it was sometimes I enjoy some of those stories and hearing Trent Reznor talk about how he all his influences and things and his styles and things he went into it. And then I didn't realize it is like Old Town Road sampling a Nine Inch Nails song. So it's like, okay, you got this country song that sampled this, and there's all these other things about that song, and it's like, and you know, obviously Little Nas, and it's like, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, I won't deny that. I didn't even know that, actually, what you just said. I didn't realize they sampled Nine Inch Nails.
So yeah, that whole the little piano kind of part. I don't remember. I don't know if anyone in the chat knows this, but that was lifted from a Nine Inch Nails little.
Yeah, and forgive me, I listened to Nine Inch Nails, but not enough to know that. So
right, yeah. I'm totally in the same boat there too. Obviously, for realizing that how long they've even been around is, you know, again back to the 90s too, right, and still be somewhat relevant. So, but yeah, I think so. Again, got to be kind of open. Good music is good music, no matter what it is.
Yeah,
so, right.
I stopped feeling guilty. You know, everyone's like, "What's your guilty pleasure?" I'm like, I like the song. You know, so
right.
Or artist, whatever it is.
Right. Davey said, I think a lot of people's eyes were open when Kanye jumped up on Taylor Swift's presentation. Red pulled me about all. Oh, okay. So I guess it kind of, you know, kind of like turns you. I guess they're about award show, you know.
Yeah.
As long as we all will find out someday down the road that Kanye and Taylor Swift were in on it the whole time to create media, right? And so, which, come on, would we not be surprised between the two of them, right? You know,
right. So. They're both not stupid.
No, right. Get a little bit of
or another.
Right, get a little bit of controversy either way, and you're so forth. So, so tell me about your other creative side. You know, so you did a little bit of filmmaking, and we are both Owl at FAU alums, right?
Yeah, so. Go Owls. Yeah. I got my degree in film, video, new media, 2018 at FAU. I actually went to school for music for 2 semesters at FAU, and then I switched to film because I was over it, to be honest. Just music for me academically wasn't for me. So I was like, I'm out of here. So yeah, I switched to film, and it fit in perfectly with the timeline to graduate. So I had the best time making short films. And now I have my own new camera now, a Sony 6400. I just got a new stabilizer for Christmas. So, you know, once I get some time, I'll practice with that. And I really want to write short films, scripts. Besides music, I love creative writing. That's another passion of mine, whether it's poems or obviously lyrics, stories, anything like that. So I would love to write a movie one day.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So because you had won an award also.
Yeah, I was in the Flamingo Film Festival, and then for one of my I took an experimental film class, and we had to do a Super 8 film. So that was in the Super 8 festival as well. That was really cool to shoot on film. You have to, you know, if the cartridge is 3 minutes, you know, you have to write out, okay, for 10 seconds, I'm going to shoot this and this, this, and this. And, you know, because you can't go back and edit. Everything's in camera. So you hope it comes out good and it's exposed. So it was cool.
So do you find, you know, the digital versus something like that, is there a art to some of the older technology, but yet kind of like back to what we're talking about, albums versus CDs? I mean, now today, right, everything is all just cut, clip, paste, and you know,
I mean, it's definitely more convenient with digital, but I like the look of old films. There's just, I mean, like I said, you can do anything in digital, but it's just the point. Like, you can't, at the same time, I feel like you can't really recreate how some of these old films were filmed. Like, I love Alfred Hitchcock films. So just some, that's, to me, I would love to do films like that. I would love to shoot on actual film.
So you a film history buff then, or is that part of the?
To a point, like I depends on what you ask me, but I like the Turner Classic Movie Channel, that's on in my house a lot. I love that. I don't know what I would do without that channel. I watch a lot of old movies.
I don't know how many times you did when is it, I guess, somewhere between Thanksgiving and Christmas. There's the ton of 24 hours The Wizard of Oz, right? And I always say to my kids, are like, this movie was made back in like almost 100 years ago, right?
Yeah, and the color's very vivid too.
Oh yeah, and just the effort and the special effects, the some of that stuff that went into it, where it's so much more involved compared to today, where again, if you watch movies when they overdo the CGI, it's just like really, considering. I mean, even Star Wars, going back that far to some of that stuff too, is the original Star Wars things. So
I guess that would be maybe another fact that people would be surprised about, because a lot of people my age don't really watch old movies or know about it. So for me, I'm all about it. I know a lot. Right. So
or like Gone with the Wind, right?
That's one of my favorite movies.
Right.
So I'm not just saying that because you brought it up. That is one of my favorite movies. Classic. Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you a rapid fire here. Okay. So actually, I got to come up with a better name. I saw it the other day. Was the 5 second challenge, or I don't know, something that we'll work on that. So, but I was trying to come up with the rapid fire, 30-second note roll. I don't know, something creative like that. So the gist of this is, I'm going to ask you basically yes or no, or one, but 5 seconds. The first thing that comes into your mind in this. Okay.
All right.
Ready for this? There's no phone a friend here. There's no phone a friend or.
I know. Disclaimer. I hope I choose the right thing. I'm gonna listen back and be like, what did I say? What did I do?
All right, you ready? Do you need a glass of water?
No, I'm okay.
Bass or drums?
Drums. That's so difficult. It's so difficult not to explain. I'm just gonna go with drums.
Okay, okay. You'll explain it. You'll let you explain in a second.
No worries.
All right. So, this next one here, we didn't even get a chance to talk about it. You kind of hinted on a few things. We'll come when you go into explaining why. We'll talk a little bit about it.
No worries.
Snow or sun?
Sun.
Okay. All right. This one, I think you're going to have a lot of pain over.
Okay.
Harley Mitchell. Green Day song. Minority or Jesus of Suburbia?
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Jesus of Suburbia.
All right. Thanks for being a good sport. So
that's okay. It's like kill your darlings here. That's what it's like.
That's right. Well, if you had to save one person, would it be this person or that person?
I'm saving the dog and I'm getting out of here.
So, all right. So So when I came up with this, and for everyone that Harlan and I, we've been trying to book, get together and do the podcast here for a while, and almost I think 2 months. I think we kind of initially, right?
Yeah.
And so we'd come up with some of these. Now again, you notice that if you go back, you probably will see the email or however I sent it to you. The rapid fire wasn't included. So.
No, it wasn't. I think you mentioned it, but it wasn't in there.
But so I figured bass or drums was going to be a tough one for you. But so I figured that, right, you're a musician and love both equally playing music. So of course, this is a Drums and Rums podcast. So
yeah. You have to ask.
So good answer.
Yeah, right. I said the right thing. When I do like a bass and rum podcast, I'll say bass.
There you go. So we're gonna have to franchise this out, and a whole bunch of like guitar and gin and bass and bourbon. There you go.
Thank you. I was just gonna say that bass and bourbon.
So we said sun or snow, and you said sun, right?
Definitely.
Right. So now one thing we didn't talk about was because I'm also was born in New Jersey.
Awesome.
And I had grew up in Saraville, where John and Dave Sabo from Skid Row grew up or had lived in that time.
Yeah.
So it was is when you mentioned the Skid Row tribute band down in not Pipers, but down in Broward County.
Spring, yeah.
Right. I was like, oh, okay, because I haven't seen Skid Row in a while, and they're still going at it, and
they are.
I think we're all wishing, and everyone is just saying, guys, just get over it, make the money, let Sebastian back in the friggin' band.
Yeah.
If Axl can do it, if Axl can get back together with Slash and Duff, you guys can do it. Okay.
That's how I feel about Led Zeppelin. They could have Jason on the drums and just whatever the things they have, get over it and do it for the fans.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't miss the snow either. That's probably nice. This cold weather we've had here recently is in South Florida. It's been nice to kind of put you in the festive mood. Again, my kids were both born here, so they're dying to see snow and go in it. I says, you guys think it's cold now? Wait till you go into the snow.
Yeah, I moved here when I was 15. I'm from Clifton, New Jersey. And, we would go up to Pennsylvania in the Poconos. I would snowboard. I had a lot of fun. But now after living here since 2008, I don't miss the cold. Like, it's great. Oh, I can wear my sweatshirt or jeans. I wear jeans in the summer now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm kind of over the cold now. I'm very uncomfortable. My body's not used to this anymore. So definitely sun. I just said this yesterday to some friends. I'm like, I just want to be on the beach, clear blue water again, and float. I'm over it. I'm over 2020, over the cold.
I think this year has been one of those. I just don't feel like, well, again, because a lot of things have been locked down. Everyone's been very cautious, and I'm like, man, I just feel like I haven't been to the. And our weather too. We've had some crazy rain when we're not supposed to normally get rain.
Right.
It's the ocean's been churned up a lot with a lot of the storms that we've had out there. So it's probably obviously been a lot of beach erosion, a lot of things. And it's just like, man, hopefully, it was all a bad dream. We wake up in 2021. So,
yeah.
But hopefully it doesn't get any worse than this. And
I know.
the best is I saw somebody posted online yesterday was, 20, they're holding a gizmo in front of the sink in the kitchen. Like, oh, are we done yet?
I've seen that. Yeah.
So, all right. So why did you have so much angst about answering the Green Day question?
Because both mean something to me in a different way. But I went with Jesus Suburbia because, again, American Idiot came out in 2004. So 2004 or 5, I was 11, and I saw the American Idiot video on my friend's TV, and I'm like, what is this? So it just happened like that. And I have to go with where it all started.
In somebody like a band like Green Day, they were each, because I'm sure, maybe I gotta start working on this project. Because I was talking to a friend of mine about music the roots, like how different things influence, and anyone who says that they don't like the Beatles, well, you know what? Anyone who you were influenced by were influenced by the Beatles, and so on and so forth. Right? There's DNA, right? And musical DNA, right? Or something to that effect. And but like during that time in the late 90s when Green Day hit, mid 90s, I guess. And then through today, I mean, they're still relevant.
Yeah.
You look at a band, and here you talk about Ward Show. Heather, you'd asked about this, right? remember watching something. Somebody posted it was from a MTV Music Awards show
Hmm.
where I think it was some 41 opened
Hmm.
up the show.
Wow.
Then they went into doing a song with Tommy Lee on drums. It was a Motley Crue song. Then they mashed it into a Judas Priest song. Then Rob Halford came out.
Cool.
So you got all this generational stuff, right?
Yeah.
And Halford says, he goes, oh, and again, this obviously just probably being nice, making a comment that these
Hmm.
guys are going to be huge. And again, he said this live on while they were talking to him. These guys are going to be huge, metal band or whatever. And it's like, where are they now, right?
Yeah.
But to the point, there's some bands that can hit it, but then they just can't make that longevity, like a Green Day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah. Anyway, I guess. And he obviously was on the earlier this year, the sitting in his house with his acoustic guitar with his dogs running around, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. He
Right.
did a live stream. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So he's still relevant, right? That in
Oh,
the sense,
definitely.
right? In the sense
They
that
even have
people
a side project. That their gimmick is that they don't associate themselves with the side project. It's called a network. So the everything on their social media pages lately have been like, who are these guys, like we don't associate with them, and they wear masks. It's really cool, and they sound like new wave. It's a really cool sound, very different from Green Day. But I hope Green Day comes out with another album. I hope they're writing in quarantine.
Oh yeah, there's probably so much, right? People have been so hyper focused on things, especially musicians being, again, performing, and as you probably know as well, it's been very difficult to even buy home recording gear, cameras, mics, etc., because everyone's been forced to do their own home little studios, right?
Yeah, very true. At the beginning of the pandemic, when I was trying to figure out how to live stream, they have those iRigs you could get for the iPhone, and everybody was buying them. Like they weren't available on Amazon, so it was crazy.
Right. So the oh geez. So Davey had asked me, he goes, we didn't talk about rum. So again, I know we're not, in person for this one. So we'll talk afterwards. I'd love to do some other collaborations with you.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely share some rum. So Davey, no, actually I do have some rum, yes, in my tumbler here. So I
have really boring water. But it's in a party cup, so
there you go. So
it's clear. I'll say it's like vodka or something like that.
There you go. So did you know about your red Solo cup there? Every line on the cup, right?
Yeah. I know there are meanings to the lines. I just forget what they are because I don't really drink that much, like at all. So, yeah.
So you definitely are not then getting advantage of the bar tab then.
No, I would rather order chicken wings. It's the easiest thing. Like I don't really eat at my gigs. It's just too much going on. I'll eat beforehand, but if I order food, the easiest thing to heat up at home, chicken wings. It's not like they could go soggy. So yeah, that's what I take advantage of at the bar, the bar tab.
That I've learned is like, no, I just put it back into the pay, because again, somebody will lean on the bar tab more than others, but
exactly
that's just been my experience and so forth. But anyway, so I appreciate, Harley, the us getting a chance to catch up. I know we like we said, we've been trying to get together, and there's been a lot of circumstances. This year's been nothing but circumstances, and definitely, like I said, I'll touch base with you. Like I said, I got some ideas. Want to bounce off you for some from 2021 stuff, and again, anything before we go ahead and wrap up? Anything you've got want to go ahead and promote and plug, or what do you got?
I guess the soonest thing coming up, my cover band Project X is playing New Year's Eve at Copper Blues in West Palm. You can find all that information at Project X Band on Facebook. You have to make reservations, so call the venue. We'll be there from 9 to 1.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a pretty cool venue down here in West Palm. For those that are listening that live locally here, if you haven't been to Copper Blues, it's down at City Place, downtown West Palm. Pretty cool. I love how the stage is set up there right behind the bar, up and high enough so everybody can see. So very cool venue. A lot of great bands. Obviously, Harley's playing there, right? So, and so. So again, I appreciate the time today, Harley. And
thank you for having me.
I hope everybody goes and checks out go check out our YouTube page, right? That's obviously a lot of great videos are out there. Her drum covers, live performances. I see that you get your camera set up back there when you're playing live all the time. And a lot of great content. Go ahead and support her. Go ahead and check out Collision Drumsticks if you're not familiar with them. So again, because of me, I follow you. I never knew about Collision. So again, some obviously great products there, as well as all of her projects: Rubixx, Day 4, Project X, as she just mentioned there, Copper Blues in downtown West Palm. So all right. So I guess if nobody else has got any other last little questions there at the buzzer. No, but I appreciate everyone that chiming in there today. And
that was fun.
Yeah, got a lot of good questions to ask you to help me out there. I may have to ask these folks to come on all the other podcasts.
I'm sure they will.
So, all right, Harley, I appreciate the time there. So thanks all. So this is Paul, where the backbeats meets the spirits. Have a great day. All right. Thanks, Harley.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. All right. So I think we're still. I'm not sure.
Are we still live? Should I leave the room, the meeting, I should say?
Oh yeah. Let's see. Thanks. All right. That's it. Do you got are your drums mic'd up?
Not currently, because I had a gig, so I just set the drums up, but yeah, I have to hook up the mics. Yeah.
That has to be kind of a and I should have asked you that question, was the and I think we're still live on Facebook or YouTube, so but I stopped for the podcast. But your miking, how you do all your recover stuff, all the technical stuff, right?
Yeah, so I use I have a Shure what is it called, like a PGA mic kit. I mic everything, 2 overheads. So the music room I'm in next door is my bedroom, and that's where my desktop is normally set up. But since this was so convenient, maybe I'll reconsider bringing my computer in here. But I run all the cables through this room and into the next, so I have to double up everything. And honestly, the way I do it, even though it's maybe not correct, is I set my camera up, I hit record, I come in here, and my music's playing on my iPhone with my in-ears, and I just hit record on everything, and then I'll line it up. Normally, what I probably should do is just record the parts and then record myself with the camera, but sometimes I don't know what I'm going to do. Like if it is a rap song, I may do a different fill. So I just make sure that everything's recorded. It's all the same take. And, if I mess up, then I just stop everything and I reset. So it just helps me. Yeah.
Sometimes, just doing it in one shot, is sometimes, the best way, right?
Yeah.
know.
I use Logic Pro too, by the way. It's just
Uh,
easier. I like the what do they call it? The interface, the format. So user friendly. Yeah. So that's how I do it. And I get caught with copyright a lot on YouTube, but it's nothing that'll be against my account. I just can't monetize anything. So
just on that video though.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, see, I'm asking a ton of questions now. I should be asking you.
That's all right. If we're still live on YouTube, then somebody's watching.
Yeah. So the YouTube's have you reached YouTube creator status?
Probably.
Or whatever.
I can monetize.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're making money off of YouTube though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Just not enough to quit my job. But yeah, technically I am making money.
Okay.
So
well that's cool. And now yeah, because I think that's a part, some of the other guests that I've had on who are pushing a lot of stuff out to YouTube, and whether it was Jared, having Jared from Romeo on, they've obviously huge followers, or Juan Mendoza, stuff, and obviously they've been doing it for a long time too. So to kind of build that base and get that out there, of course, all you guys are awesome. You're very good.
Thank you.
You're, obviously have interest in, obviously why people are following, and the opportunity to do some of that stuff too. But yeah, I didn't even think about it. I was like, it's the irony was I started off the podcast and it was like, drummers don't have to worry about wires and mic cables and sound levels and stuff. With sound guy it takes us forever to set stuff up, let alone know how it's going to sound.
Yeah, no, we have to learn how to be an engineer too now that we're home and recording.
Right. So, all right, let's see who's in. All right, we got a few folks still hanging in there. So,
cool.
Six still watching there on. All right, Davey. Yeah. So I think I'm going to borrow Davey. I think it's going to give me a new name for that rapid fire thing. So, we're gonna is in 4 beats or less. So there we go.
In 4 beats or less, I like that.
So I think we're gonna. I told him I think we're gonna borrow that. So, David Robert Lankinow.
Oh, Lankinow. He's the singer in Rubixx.
Okay, she's the best drummer I've played with. Period.
Thank you, Rob.
Cool.
Or Bobby Dazzler is his nickname.
Oh.
If you're curious, it's because he has a sparkly jacket he wore one time at a gig, and
that's it.
After that, he's been Bobby Dazzler. So,
so it happens one time.
That's all it takes. One thing, and people won't let you live it down.
That's right. All right. So I'm sure if anyone's chime in. So, all right, Harley, I really appreciate this.
Yeah.
I know we got a chance, and I know I was really, I really wanted to get together before the end of the year and kind of catch up with you. So,
yeah.
But like I said, again, I got some ideas for something next year. I'll talk to you offline, see if you're interested in.
Definitely.
And, we'll go from there. So
yeah, thank you. I love doing this stuff. So anytime you could have me on and nobody gets tired of me, and what else could you possibly know? But I love talking about this. Even if we pick a topic and talk about it, I love this. So.
Well, then maybe what I'm gonna have you on is maybe should I say it now? We're still live, right? I'll just ask.
Start promoting.
I'll just ask you this.
All right.
Question, and then we'll see if we can take it off.
Okay.
How familiar are you with Spinal Tap?
I'm familiar enough with like them trying to find the stage. But I don't know about a whole show. I'll be honest about that.
Okay. So if you want to watch it, at least refresh, and because I've seen a couple of other videos you've done maybe while you're in college with your review and comment videos. So
yeah,
I had an idea about a Spinal Tap version.
Okay.
obviously relate it to what the podcast is about.
Mhm.
So like I said, well, I'll message you offline and see and give you more
Okay.
details.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fun because it goes back to one of the podcasts I did with a friend from my high school in New Jersey, where we did the
Mhm.
band, drummers. Where are they now? The bands that we listened to when we were in high school.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you listened to that one. It was all these bands that we had grew up
Mhm.
listening to, and then we all both did our research. We split this list in half. We didn't share any information with each other until the actual
Oh,
review
cool.
on the podcast, and then we streamed it and so forth. And so my buddy Craig, uh, he rattled off things. We each did our own little research. It was kind of a fun little nostalgia. We shared some stories, jogged his memory about growing up and having long hair, and listening to all those bands, A level bands, B level bands, and even some C level bands.
Yeah.
So, listening to our Walkman and our tapes and so forth. But yeah, so we'll definitely check it out. So, all right,
Yeah.
Hart, I
For
will
sure.
let you go. I know it's
All
almost
right.
a lot of time there. So,
It's all right. Where am I going? Right? We're in a pandemic.
stay locked down.
Yeah.
All right, Harley. Thanks. Talk to you
Thank
later.
you.
Bye,
All
bye.
right.
All right, bye.